that sort of downward facing momentum for teenage employment is a huge problem. And it is not a huge problem merely because I think 16-year-olds are being deprived of what experience they would get at age 16. It's because 24-year-olds are deprived of the experience they would have had at age 16. You know, I am a corner office guy in Wall Street, and I've had a very successful career. I don't want people to believe that that's where it started.
Right.
It most certainly did not. You know, my path would not be what it was if it were not for the lawn mowing and the restaurants and all that kind of stuff. Those service type jobs build character.
Yeah, I wanted to start there because as I was looking through your book, which I have here, and I will say it's rare for me to get a hard copy from a publisher, so I was appreciative. It's a great book, but I noticed those chapter titles and your job positions, and I loved it because so much of me was formed in those early jobs. I started at 11 years old. I had a paper route. I had mowed lawns before that. But I think this is something our culture has lost in some way, especially those jobs that were kind of real jobs for really young kids. And I'm not looking back to the glory days of child labor, right? I don't want our kids sewing soccer balls in sweatshops, but this is something we've lost as a culture, is it not?
It sure is. And it's actually a thing that not only have we lost as a culture, it's on multiple levels. The parents are not really that committed to it. The kids are not committed to it. The schools are not committed. The public policy does not favor it.
Right.
It's kind of one of these rare areas where I couldn't identify what the cause of it has been because it's so multi-causal. Mm-hmm. And yet that sort of downward facing momentum for teenage employment is a huge problem. And it is not a huge problem merely because I think 16-year-olds are being deprived of what experience they would get at age 16. It's because 24-year-olds are deprived of the experience they would have had at age 16.
Exactly.
That people are entering the workforce later and they have to play catch up to some of those just, you know, basic people skills that I talked about a moment ago.
Yeah, I see it's a very real thing. My daughter is 18 now and she's held some jobs, but she's currently in a position where she's looking for work. And her mom and I are helping her through that. We're driving her around and helping her fill out applications and resumes and things like this. And it's so hard. The opportunities are so few. And it seems like it's really changed since when I was a kid. At 16, I was at Taco Bell, you know, putting together burritos and enjoying the smell of ground beef all over me. And it just seems like something really dramatic has changed, I don't think for the better. This episode of Rapid Response was brought to you by CTC Math. Visit them at ctcmath.com today.